Hey, welcome to episode 4 of the Ginger Sports Podcast. This is part 2 of our World Cup preview pod. I think we're going to do another one after the group stages, mainly because we had so much difficulty speaking about teams like Panama, Iran, Saudi Arabia, even Japan, even a team like Japan. I know they've got Kagawa, Yoshida, but I can't tell you how they play. I can't tell you much about most of their players. If you want that, I don't know, maybe go to somewhere like The Guardian. They'll have some Japanese football expert on who you can't disprove because you've never seen Japanese football. That's my theory about a lot of these shows. You've got guys like, if I go Guardian, you've got guys like Paolo Baldini, Italian football expert. He's only an Italian football expert because no one else watches Italian football who can actually prove that he's talking shite. I'm getting a bit sidetracked here. Enough of Paolo Baldini's shortcomings. To tell you the truth, my own shortcomings I have actually messed up in this podcast, and my mic sounds pretty terrible. It sounds echoey, and I don't quite know what I did, but I fucked up. After 4 podcasts, it seems like I've got complacent, and I thought it was Joe Rogan. Needless to say, I'm not Joe Rogan. But it's a learning curve. We'll get through it. And we'll move on to the next one. Hopefully people don't notice it that much. If you do, sincerely apologise. I do just want to say thank you very much for everyone that's retweeted, liked, subscribed, everything. I'm having a hard time with podcast analytics to say how well we've actually done, but it feels like pretty well. I've had generally good response from most people, and honestly, I just want to say thanks. We appreciate it. It's a bit of fun for us, but it's nice to know that someone's actually listening when we're speaking. I'm not saying you're going to learn anything, but it's nice to know someone's listening. Anyway, that's long enough of an intro. Say that again. Anyway, that's long enough of an intro. Here's the pod. Thank you. Right, Group E. Shall we start with Brazil? Romped their qualifying group, 10 points ahead of Uruguay. I think they've got the most balanced team in the World Cup. Must be most people's favourites.
Remember like a few years ago when everyone was looking at them and going, yeah, they're just basically Neymar. See now, they're so much better. They're so much better than just Neymar. I mean, like, even, I know the front line's got Neymar, Firmino and Jesus, but, you know, they've got Casemiro, Fernandinho, Paulinho, Fred, who's just gone to Man U, Willian, you forget about him, Douglas, like, it's ridiculous. And then that's not even including all the amazing defenders and the 2 world-class goalkeepers they have now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they'll win. I can't see anyone else winning this. If they turn up for every game, they'll win this entire thing.
Yeah, just straight off the bat.
And that's the problem. That's like we start with that team, but I can't see a better team.
For me, it's their balance. It's the fact that they've got Casemiro, they've got Paulinho, Fernandinho. If they need like just sitting there and letting these attacking players go do what they're best at. Also, you think, like you said, off the bench, they're going to have guys like Douglas Costa. I think Douglas Costa's a world-class winger, and he's not getting a look in that team. 10, 15 minutes, bring him on at the end when defenders are tired. He's going to cause havoc.
I'm looking at the squad and I'm seeing very few names that I remember being in the team that lost 7-1 to Germany.
Yeah.
Which is definitely a good thing, because you don't want to be carrying those scars into the next tournament. Probably means there's a lack of World Cup experience, but there's a lot of big name players. It's not as if there's players here that aren't used to playing in big games.
Mm.
I think that's a really, really strong squad. There's no doubt they'll walk the group. How far they'll get in the tournament, I'm not 100% sure. I'd be surprised if they didn't reach the semis. This group is ideal, I would say, for Neymar, considering he hasn't played for 6 months. 3 games, which you would say, find your feet. get a goal or two, get yourself ready for the
He's
knockout
already got a
stages.
goal though.
Oh yeah, true.
When they-
Came on, scored,
And
but
that was with the entire Croatian team kicking the shit out of him
Yeah.
as well.
Yep. Yeah, that was a good test though. It was a good test because I had no idea how fit he actually was. I never trust these. It's the same way. I said it last podcast with Mo Salah. I don't trust what anyone's saying about how fit he is.
I'm still not convinced he'll play any games, Salah. Not to go too far off the rails. I really am dubious as to whether the Egyptian FA have come out and said this just to kind of
I mean, they have
stop anarchy in their own
they,
country.
They have to. I mean, you've seen what it did to Liverpool in the Champions League
Yeah.
final. Completely deflated them. It would do the same to the, if not worse, to the Egyptian national team. They'd be relying on Mohamed El Neni.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that's the thing that I don't really have. I don't really have anything more. I mean, they beat Germany already. They've beaten Croatia with them kicking the shit out of them, and they just kind of walk through that. So they've basically beaten the best team in the world, and then they've beaten the team that's gonna, someone who tries something else against them, and they still beat them.
It'll just be it'll be interesting to see how the mental aspect play when they do play a big team.
But they don't have David Luiz.
He's not even made the squad.
David Luiz is I'm so glad he's not there because having somebody like Miranda's amazing as well. Like he's a better defender than David Luiz, and I could go on about David Luiz forever, but because I think he's just the most overrated thing on the planet. But having those guys in there, they're going to start. They'll have Marcelo, Felipe Luis, Thiago Silva, Marquinhos. That's pretty good back four.
And Alisson, the keeper's been strong as well all year.
Yep.
He's strong. I think it's like you mentioned, the fact that Casemiro sits, and you could even add Fernandinho in there as well. I mean, that is seriously strong.
Yeah.
Fernandinho for City this year has just allowed them to go forward.
Yeah.
Frightening. And when you've got Neymar, Coutinho, Firmino, Willian, they could score some serious goals.
Willian, who I think is one of the most underrated players. Like that man, the season that he's played, every single game I've watched him play. Alright, he's not for 100% of the time been unbelievable, but he's dragged Chelsea through so many games when Hazard was getting a bit of a rough time, or when Hazard was injured as well.
Oh, yeah. At the very least, it's one hell of a sub to bring on if you want to go down.
Yeah.
Right. So Brazil are your winners. We'll move on.
Yeah,
Just call the podcast. Then.
I can't.
3 wins. I can't see them dropping a point in the group.
Yeah, if they lose, there's always a chance that they're going to come up because I think I've got them. I don't even have them.
Do they?
I have England beating them in the quarterfinals, which is a bit of a weird one for me.
Yeah.
So
They could draw Germany early, could they not? Or have I got that wrong?
No, I think
they could technically draw Germany in the round of 16, but it's likely both teams would win the group.
Yes.
But that would be interesting if one of them did slip slightly.
Yeah.
Right, we'll move on. We'll move on to Switzerland. Switzerland scraped through against Northern Ireland in a playoff. Only beat them 1-0 in aggregate. Joint 27 points on Portugal with Portugal's qualifying group.
Yeah, I'd like to point out the fact that they had to play a playoff and they lost one game in that qualifying.
Yeah.
That is unreal. I'd like to see if that's ever happened
It would
before.
have been so unfair. Well, not unfair, but it would have been unbelievable if they hadn't made
Yeah.
the tournament.
They deserve to be there.
They did.
They've got some decent players. They've got enough players where you think they should comfortably finish second ahead of Costa Rica and Serbia.
Yeah.
Lichtsteiner, Ricardo Rodriguez, Xhaka, Shaqiri. I mean, they're not top class players, but
Should be enough to see them through.
they're better than what Costa Rica have.
I'd just like to put out there that Stefan Lichtsteiner going to Arsenal is not as good a thing as everybody thinks it's going to be. That man will be 35 in January, and there's a reason that Juventus let him go.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would say to a point, but I would argue he's exactly what Arsenal need.
But
As long as they're signing him with the view to a year, maybe 2, to shore up the defence, but that's it.
Yeah, but he's a right back though, is he not?
Yeah.
We don't really need him.
They need,
unless he's coming to get his time in the sun. And
they need that kind of character in the dressing room more than anything else. They need those kind of guys when your team's full of absolute wimps. You need someone that's been there and actually won something.
It's true.
And
give Bellerin a bit of a kick up the arse as well.
Yeah, I mean, Bellerin could easily lose his place. I don't think he's been particularly good for standards of Vanarama Conference right back, never mind a Premier League right back. It's evident by the fact that he's not going to the World Cup in Spain.
Yeah, I just feel he's not a centre back, and he's an old right back.
It's not the most inspiring
yeah.
signing, but it.
Yeah,
I
mean, yeah, he'll
see the
still
benefits.
like. Let's see how he does in this World Cup. I suppose like I think Switzerland's team's pretty good, and they have been like they're like fourth in the world, third in the world rankings for a bit because they kept playing games that they would never lose.
That,
Yeah, they were very high up for a while.
They're playing like Lithuania and like stuff like that, and
that doesn't seem to work for Scotland.
yeah. I also want to point out that Johan Juru is still.
I just
still
noticed
a
that name
player.
in the squad, and I can't
Yes,
quite
he is.
believe that.
And apparently he's still very good for them, even though he was horrendous for Arsenal. He's still actually very good.
I'm not going to argue that.
Yeah,
Not seen enough of him play this year. They'll be fine though. They've got enough there to finish
Yeah.
second, I would say.
yeah, I think so as well.
Other two teams in the group, Costa Rica, you got Keylor Navas, Brian Oviedo, Christian Gamboa, who apparently still plays for Celtic. I don't remember him playing any of last season, if he does still play. I'm not aware if he went out on loan, but
So, yeah, he's that name. He's kind of a name that pops up every now and then, but you never really follow what he's up to.
yeah. The legend, Fulham legend, Brian Ruiz is still there as well.
God, at Sporting Lisbon.
I know that. I was shocked by that as well. I thought-
Captain his
Yeah.
country. They'll do well. They'll do well to get a point, I think, because I think Serbia are also better than him.
While I'm looking at Brian Oviedo, who's in the squad and has just been relegated with Sunderland to League One.
Yeah,
That's
Dave-
not strong.
It's
David
level
Moyes will
with
be on the sidelines cheering him on.
Yeah.
His favourite player.
Serbia have got some alright players as well. They've got Matic, Tadic.
They have the best young player in the world in that Milinkovic-Savic guy. If you ever watch how unbelievable he was for Lazio, like the only reason Lazio did so well was because I think he scored something ridiculous like 15 goals as well from like a reasonably deep midfield position. He'll go in this summer. He'll go to PSG or Real or somebody.
Strangely, only 3 caps.
Yeah, I know.
23, I would have thought it was more.
But he is the outstanding. He's the what do they call it? The gold. He should be the golden boy,
Right.
or whatever that stupid award is.
Yeah, young player of the tournament.
There could be some. The more I look at this, there could be some interesting games. Switzerland might not have it as easy as before, to be honest. Serbia are no mugs there. Dusan Tadic in the middle, Kolarov in defence. Mitrovic, I know, has never really done it in the Premier League, but he has been banging the goals in for Fulham, so he's going to be full of confidence. They might not be as much of a pushover as you think.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I might have been talking shit earlier. Serbia could easily beat Switzerland. Serbia might actually have better players than Switzerland.
Yeah,
Because I'm the same. I really like Mitrovic.
Yeah.
He's just a big battering ram.
he's the kind of player that would turn up for a World Cup as well. He loves it.
Yeah, you can see him.
Yeah.
Just flinging elbows.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think they'd struggle because they're an ageing team
Yeah,
in
they're
that
old.
respect.
That defence is old. Ivanovic
Yeah.
34,
Kolarov,
Kolarov 32, Tosic 33. There's several 30-year-olds in that defence.
Yeah, and the last 5 they've been beaten by Austria, Morocco, and Chile. It doesn't make
That's not good,
great
is it?
reading, if they're trying to get because Austria beat Germany and all that, but Morocco and then Chile when Chile are not as good as they were a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
you could argue. I'd say they'll probably come third, but you're right. They could do a very
Could be some
honourable
interesting
second.
games in
Yeah.
that group, especially if one team was to nick a point against Brazil, that could open up a little more. as well.
Yeah, or even
never
if
know.
Brazil lost one, because do we know who they play first?
What if they?
Yeah, who
If they
Brazil
get
are first? Like if Brazil play like Switzerland
I
or
think it is
Serbia
Switzerland.
first, if they play them first and the Swiss get a good
Yeah.
jog on them, then that could be.
Or even actually, if Switzerland lose that and there is a winner in the Serbia Costa Rica game, straight away Switzerland know they've got to win one
yeah.
and draw one.
Yep.
So you
Okay,
never
maybe it's not a slam dunk as we thought it was.
know. Yeah.
I'm still going Switzerland and Brazil to get through 1 and 2.
Yeah, I would still go with that, but it might be interesting.
Right. Group F: Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and South Korea. Start off with Germany, reigning world champions, 100% record in qualifying. And they start with who they've left out rather than who they've taken. Leroy Sané. Any thoughts?
I see why he's done it though. think about how the depth of players they have, and Julian Brandt plays in Germany with all those guys. Leroy Sané is a crafty winger, which they don't really play. They don't do that. Like if you think about it, if you've got Leroy Sané being the crafty winger on the left, and then you've got Thomas Müller doing his round deuter thing, whatever they call it, that thing where he plays inside basically off the right.
Yeah.
That's a really unbalanced top line, especially when Timo Werner, and then what's his face behind him, Draxler sitting in behind him. Like that's not very balanced to me.
I was shocked personally. I'd have had him in there in a heartbeat. I was really, really surprised not to see him in there. He hasn't done much for Germany, I know that much. I think it's 13 caps, no goals. But he's just been ridiculously good for Man City all year long. He's so quick. He's the kind of player that if England were to get to a stage where we played against Germany, I would have him down to destroy our defence. There's no two ways about it. And actually, I look at some of those names and think, it's full of world-class players, so it is hard to justify taking one of them out to put one in. But you look at Draxler, he's been on the bench at PSG most of this season. Yeah. He is a class player, but Sané's played 50 games for arguably one of the best teams in the whole of Europe. I'd have had him in there. I'm not sure who directly had it taken out, but I was shocked not to see him in the 23.
Yeah, I'm the same. I would have taken him. I'd have taken him ahead of Brandt as well. I'm not going to question Joachim Löw because he's obviously won the World Cup before. He has given Sané every chance. Sané started the last friendly game and obviously just hasn't made the cut, whether it's tactically. Joachim Löw doesn't seem certain that he can follow what Julian Brandt does. So if he doesn't fit in the team, he doesn't fit in the team. That's fair enough. Same reasons for Icardi at Argentina. If he can't tactically do what the manager's telling him, no matter how talented he is, he's not going to get in the team. So fair enough. I'm sure there'll be a lot of angry German fans if Germany go out in the quarterfinals or something and they're struggling to unlock a defence. Yeah. And no one can get in behind, because I still think he's the best out and out winger, as in chalk on your boots, hugs the touchline winger in the world.
Oh, but that's not how Germany play though. That's the problem. They're not that. They don't. If you look at every single other player there, not one of them is that.
But so if you look at how Man City play, that's not how Sterling plays on the other side.
It's very true.
Yeah,
Sterling comes in, he'll drift. He doesn't. I can see if he wants his wide midfielders to come inside to open up space for the fullbacks and stuff. Absolutely fair enough. But
when you've got David Silva, who, I mean, that ball, he's like Iniesta, and the ball just sticks to him. Like there's never any, when he's got the ball, there's never any danger of him losing it.
But then the Germans got Toni Kroos in the middle.
But he's more of a passer rather than like a kind of one of these dainty little guys that runs around. Like I'm just saying, if you have David Silva running around with the ball, you can afford to have a guy run off to the left hand side and receive the ball and then attack in. They don't have that. Like they don't have that. They have to like play the passing game through the middle. You'll never see. I can't remember a Germany team where it's all crosses and stuff. Like that.
But they do now have Timo Werner in the middle.
Yeah, but he's more. He plays through the centre for Bayern more. Like because Bayern don't really do. Like if you watch
Leipzig.
Sorry, they don't. Why did I think he was at Bayern? I can't remember. But yeah, he's more. I'm just saying, like they play less with those winger types, and I just see Leroy Sané as a winger rather than that guy.
But he also does one of the hardest things in football, which is beat your fullback, which creates so much space for everyone else. I mean, again, not to question Löw, because obviously he's just not seen enough from him. Sané's been given every opportunity to impress him, and he hasn't done enough.
Yeah.
So, do you think Joachim Löw is Joachim Löw, whatever his name is? Do you think he is overrated slightly? Just because he's inherited essentially probably one of the great.
Nah, because you can level that at any coach.
Yeah.
You can level that at any coach, really. I mean, when you get a bunch of good players, tactically they still need to do it.
He's won a World Cup. I just don't think you can question anyone that's won a World Cup, especially the first European team to ever win it outside of Europe, I believe, or certainly in South America.
Yeah, you can't fluke that. I don't think you can fluke it. So when I'm looking at the German squad, I'm looking at the amount of players with over 50 caps.
Yeah.
You've got Neuer, Hummels, Boateng, Khedira, Kroos, Ozil, Müller, Gomez.
And they're all players that aren't actually that old.
Exactly.
They are peak. Tony Kroos is the
Yep.
example. 28
Gomez
years
is
old,
yeah.
probably playing the best he ever has with 82 caps
Yep.
and a World Cup winners medal.
Müller, not that old, peak. Ozil, peak. Like,
And hasn't played for 6 weeks.
yeah.
What's Muller on now? World Cup goals wise.
Oh, I looked at this earlier. I think he
Is it 11 or
needs
something?
either 4 or 5 at this tournament to draw level with the all-time.
He's still only 26.
Yeah. And it's only his 3rd World Cup, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guy's a machine when
He'll turn up,
Yeah.
you know he will.
Yeah.
He'll turn up and he'll score a couple
But
of goals.
he's had a horrendous season though. He's not been very good for Bayern at
He
all.
has had a bad
He's had a
season.
poor year. I still think they'll put him through the middle. Despite that, I think for the first couple of games,
Yeah.
because he knows the World Cup, he loves it.
If only they had Leroy Sané.
Exactly.
So if you get those experienced players combined with the youth of Werner, Brandt, Draxler, so Kimmich, Ginter, for me, I think the reason that they could get very, very far is Timo Werner, just because they have an actual striker again. Not that I know they had Mario Gomez, but he was a very limited footballer. He'd done a job. I think Timo Werner's going to be, if he isn't already, one of the best strikers in the world. I think.
You're forgetting about the genius that was Miroslav Klose though.
Yeah.
He was like that was, if anyone was like him and Inzaghi will go down in history as, you know, you talk about chalk in your boots, they had chalk from the penalty line in the first thing. It's ridiculous.
Fair enough.
It's another strong squad from the Germans, though, isn't it? It's hard not to see them get into the semi-finals, really.
Although
It's hard not to see them winning it, actually, when you actually look at their starting 11. They're right up there.
Yep.
I don't think they'll win it though, because they've got too many players that have been injured or have had poor form or haven't played enough. So Neuer hasn't played at all really, played one friendly so far, let in 2 goals where they get beaten by Austria. Muller's been bad, Boateng's not played very much. You've got, you know, Julian Draxler, like you said, not played very much. Goretzka was injured, Gundogan was injured. Like, they've had so many of these guys that have been injured or have just not played particularly well.
They just win, though, don't they? They just find a way to win. Like, they always... I was watching a World Cup documentary on Netflix the other week, and it's ridiculous. Every single year they go through it, and they're either in the semis or final. Every single World Cup, they just turn up.
Yep.
They get far, so it's just impossible to write them off.
Yep, I've got them getting to the semis and getting put out off Spain, who I think
Which
are
would be
going
a
to win.
cracking game.
Yeah, tremendous.
Yeah, I've got the same as well. Spain beat them in the semis.
Right, move on to Mexico. It's Rafael Marquez's 5th World Cup.
At the age of 39.
Yeah. Do you know the other 2 players to have played in 5?
I want to say the Cameroon guy.
Oh, no.
Are you thinking Roger Miller?
Yeah, Roger
Yeah,
Miller.
This is the
Yeah.
oldest guy.
No.
Oh, this is gonna... Is Buffon in there?
Maldini?
Or would he have been in there?
He
if
would have been. He would have
Maldini?
been. No. Thing.
Ollie Kahn?
It's 80s, 90s.
Right.
Starts in
Maradona?
82, finishes in
Maradona.
98. No.
Oh, Lothar Matthäus, did he?
Cafu,
there you
Cafu
go.
as well.
Lothar Matthäus. No, not Cafu. And then the other guy was a guy called Antonio Carvajal between 1950 and 1966. So
There you go.
Yeah. We'll let him have it.
Yeah. Mexico, all I'm looking at is the Dos Santos brothers. Javier Hernandez.
I literally have that written down. Dos Santos brothers.
Dos Santos brothers, Javier Hernandez and Carlos Vela. They're going to need to come up.
Guardado as well though. He's pretty good. That
Guardado's good.
Yeah.
And Miguel Lyon as well, the defender from Sevilla, is pretty damn good as well.
They're not going to be too bad. Actually, to be honest, I know he's in the MLS now, but I've been watching a little bit of Carlos Vela recently, and he is still banging them in.
He's far too good for the MLS.
He really is
Oh,
still a
too good.
tidy finisher.
I was really surprised when he went to the MLS because he's not old.
No, 29. He's
and he's came from Sociedad, who are a good La Liga team. Could have went to another decent team, and just chose to go to LA.
But he's had five knee injuries though. Like I think it's 5 or 4, like pretty serious knee injuries, and that's what's kept him.
Well, he obviously had the broken leg, didn't he, at Arsenal?
Yeah. And then
Like
he
2 years ago,
just
he's
keeps
kept him out for a
getting.
long time.
Yeah, because he played for Villarreal and started banging him in.
Giuseppe Rossi.
Oh, I'm thinking it's Giuseppe Rossi. They're the same player though. They're both like 5'6".
I was like, I don't remember any of these injuries.
I think okay, never mind then. Ignore me. But yeah, but they I still think I don't think they'll get out of the group. I think like they've lost to Croatia recently. They lost to Jamaica in the Gold Cup, which is pretty incorrect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Incorrect.
Yeah, for a team that's they dominate that CONCACAF Cup with all their teams and stuff.
Yeah.
I just think that I think they're at risk of going out of that group. I think Sweden are better than them.
I think it's an interesting group, really, outside of Germany. Between those three,
Yeah,
I don't think
there's
they're
a great
three
deal.
particularly. I don't think they're 3 bad teams. I think they're 3 decent teams. There's no outstanding weak link. Where you look at England's group, there's clearly Panama, who are clearly bad.
Oh,
I don't
no,
think
you
South
could
Korea,
make a
Sweden, or
case
Mexico
for all
are
three.
bad. You could, Sweden. Would you have fought to take Zlatan,
no.
even though he didn't get them there? So because he didn't get them there.
No, just because he's bigger than that team. Like if they've got through, they beat Italy because they were a team. It wasn't because they had some guy up the top. You know, it wasn't the last time where they lost to Portugal in the playoffs, where it was Ronaldo v Ibrahimovic. Like that's why they lost, because it was just so much on those 2 guys, and Ronaldo is better than Ibrahimovic. So Portugal won.
Even though up front they do have John Guidetti, who's just as much of a head case, it just doesn't have the talent.
Well, there is that. It's a tough one with Zlatan, isn't it? Because, like you say, he would have taken all attention away from the squad in maybe a good way, but probably a bad way.
Yeah.
But he actually hasn't. If you take all of the Zlatan thing away, he hasn't really played football much this year. He came back after the knee injury and played 7-8 games for United and didn't really do anything. I know he's gone to LA Galaxy and he had that hilarious debut where he scored a couple of goals, but we've lived here long enough to know the MLS is dreadful.
Very fickle
and it's hard to really judge if he's good enough for a World Cup based on that. I don't know. I can see it from both sides. In a personal sense, although he didn't get them qualified, maybe he's done enough for his country to be there. But this team qualified against Italy in a playoff, and you've got to kind of trust that squad.
But I do have written down they haven't won since. So they've played a bunch of games. I think they've played 4 friendlies and they haven't won a game since they beat Italy.
And they defended for their lives against Italy.
Oh yeah,
one deflected goal.
Yeah. And if you look at their keepers, like that does not inspire confidence. They do not have a good keeper in there. Like they've got some pretty decent players, but you know, Pontus Jansson, the absolute hard man of the world, could run through walls.
They don't strike me as being particularly strong, actually, looking at this.
But I think they're a better team.
But it's a strange group.
Team.
It's a strange group. Yeah, like you say, they showed against Italy. They went 2 games not conceding, so they're going to be solid.
Yeah.
They're going to be set up well, and that might well be enough to get out of the group.
So you don't fancy Mexico, you don't fancy Sweden, do you fancy South Korea?
Honestly, they could do it. Like
knowing only 2 players.
They've got Son.
And
what's
Ki
Son?
Young.
Yeah. Oh no, not Ki Son Young. They've got Son Heung-min.
Yeah,
the Tottenham guy.
Yeah.
He is some player on his day. He is really good.
Tremendous player. I actually think Key's a good player as well. He's just left Swansea after they got relegated, but I think he could do a job at another Premier League team.
They're
newly promoted team.
There's 2 solid Premier League players, but then you look at the rest of that squad, and I can't really tell you anything about them.
They've been beaten by Northern Ireland. Have beaten them. Poland have beaten them, and Bosnia Herzegovina have beaten them recently as well. And Honduras has been their only win, and you could argue that Honduras are absolutely terrible. So
it's not promising.
Yeah,
it's not stellar form, but yeah, I think I've went for Mexico to come second.
I have as well, but it was between Sweden and them.
Yeah, it's between Mexico and Sweden, this one.
Have you also, just on a side note, have you ever looked at the Asian qualifying and how fucking complicated it is.
This
It
is
is ridiculously difficult.
Don't go down this road again, because this was the exact same thing.
No, but just in terms of like, they have 2 group sets, so like you qualify from one group and then you go into another slightly bigger group, and there's only 2 of them.
This is what I was
It's
trying
so
to
weird.
explain to Gordon last night, and then I was like, so Australia to get there had to play Syria in a playoff, and I was then about to follow that up with they beat Syria, won them after extra time, and then had to play, I think it was Honduras in a playoff, but we didn't even get to Honduras because we just started talking about Syria.
But it was. See, when you said that as well, I was like screaming into the phone, going, I know why Australia. So Australia moved. It wasn't Australia's choice to get moved.
No.
What happened was Australia just kept playing the runners up from South America, and they got humped every single time. So they would play. It would be the South American team would play whoever the Oceanic team winner, and it was always Australia.
Yeah.
So they always played Australia, and I think they got pummeled like 6 or 7 tournaments in a row and didn't get in. So that's why I think FIFA actually moved them to make it fairer on the Oceanic one, and to make it fairer on Australia to go into somewhere where they could qualify.
Right, okay, they were basically at an impasse where the same thing.
Yeah, which is why it was so weird that New Zealand qualified for the
Yeah,
last one as well.
Yeah.
Because
I did
they,
think that
like,
during the qualification
they-
this time. I was wondering, how did they actually make it in the first place?
because they had to play through that route. It was it's such a strange one.
Right, shall we move on? Or
Move on.
anything more to say about South Korea, Sweden or Mexico?
I think it's going to be an interesting group. I don't think it's been an exciting group. I think Sweden in particular, and I don't know enough about the other 2 teams, but I think they're all going to be aware that they're playing for second place here, and grinding out a draw against each other might not be the worst result. I think Sweden might actually nip Mexico to it.
Yeah, I just get a feeling that they might.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be exciting. I don't think they're going to be great, but I think they might just get the job done.
Okay. Group G, England's group. Do we start on England, Belgium, or do you want to leave England till last?
Either way,
It's on you. It's on you.
Let's start with England, shall we? Just dive straight into it.
Go for it. Deep breaths. Propels monologue.
No, you know what? 3 months ago, I was not particularly looking forward to this World Cup, and my expectations are still relatively low. They have been lifted because it's probably one of the easiest groups I've seen in my lifetime, in the sense that you can see 2 teams that you quite simply cannot lose to. And even more exciting is that actually win the group or come second, you've got a good chance against whoever you play in the round of 16. There's been, I think, the last 2 or 3 tournaments we've played where you know that if you don't win the group, you're probably going to get Germany in the next round, and the pressure hits you already. Having said that, we went out to Iceland last time. I think the squad is not as bad as people are making out. I'm sure people have seen the diagram that's going around on Twitter showing that we have got the youngest squad by age in the whole tournament, and we have the squad that has the least amount of caps on average in the entire tournament.
Only player with over 40 caps is Gary Cahill.
Which is obviously pretty terrifying in the sense that none of them know what it's like to play at a World Cup. You've got 2 players in the squad right now who have 0 caps. That may well change ahead of the last friendly, but that's pretty unheard of, to take 2 players to the World Cup with 0 caps.
Is that so? That's Nick Pope and
Trent Alexander-Arnold,
Oh,
who
right.
has just played in a Champions League final, so I'm not too concerned about that. Overall, I when Gareth Southgate was announced, I was pretty devastated. I just thought it was such a boring negative step, but I don't dislike everything he's done. And I can't complain about the squad, because in the places where you think we're weak, there are no obvious options that he's left at home. The only real talking point about the squad was Jack Wilshere. Some people might be able to make an argument about that. I personally wasn't too devastated. Like maybe he could be in the squad. It's not going to make a great deal of difference.
It's one of those. His Arsenal form hasn't forced his way in.
No,
he hasn't made himself like undroppable.
He hasn't justified why he has to be in the squad to the point where he can comment like he did afterwards. So you can't complain too much. I think we'll do okay. I actually think we'll be okay. I think it's nice that we've got the 2 easier games first. Hopefully we can win both of those, and then you play with Belgium kind of with no fear, because it doesn't matter so much. And like I say, the round of 16 game should be interesting. I think it's pretty obvious what formation he'll play as well, which is, again, at first I wasn't sure with Kyle Walker as part of the back 3, but it looks like it works. You know, he looks fairly solid on the ball, and I absolutely love Trippier being on the right. He's so quick. Against Nigeria in the first half, he was awesome down the right hand side and links up well with Kane, who obviously is the man that if we perform well is what it rests on. There are obviously areas of the squad that concern pretty much every English player. The starting 11 isn't too bad. It's almost similar to Liverpool in the Champions League. If something goes wrong, I don't really know where we turn to. You've got Danny Welbeck there on the bench. There should be no world in which he's coming onto the pitch. The defence is obviously terrifying. Gary Cahill has made the squad, but not only that, he may well start the games, which again is terrifying.
Who's your back three, do you think?
I think he goes with Walker, Stones, and Cahill.
What do you think of? So, what do you think of John Stones?
I actually quite like John Stones. If we've got a back three, I don't think he can do too much damage. I think he obviously does hold on to the ball a little bit more than he should sometimes, but there's been very few occasions where it's really gone horribly wrong for him. You can't really compare him to like a David Luiz. He's not that much of a nutcase. He is still very good on the ball and he's a solid player. So I don't have any issue with John Stones. And again, he's another one who is young. And that's the most exciting part about this squad. Take out Jamie Vardy, Ashley Young, and Gary Cahill, who you're not too worried about anyway. Every single member of this squad could come back in 4 years. And you could have the same squad with 4 years worth of experience, which is exciting for the first time.
Yeah, I'd totally agree. I think if I was an England fan, it would be the most excited I've been about a World Cup in a long, long time. It's a very good young team, and like you said, they should make it to the quarterfinals before they hit anyone good, any of the big boys. I know there's going to be these expectations. People are going to be like, "Oh, we can win it" and stuff. Like, I think generally from the country, expectations are lower, which is going to help them a lot. They should make it the quarterfinals. They have a good team. The only thing that concerns me is central midfield.
Yep.
Central midfield is not good. Eric Dyer to me and Jordan Henderson are very similar in that I feel they both take too long on the ball.
It concerns me if he plays both. I think he might go with just Henderson, which I'm okay with. He plays both, and it's a bit of a concern.
Would they start with against Nigeria? Henderson, Ali, Lingard?
I don't think Henderson played because of the Champions League final.
Oh, Dyer, Ali, Lingard?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But
yeah,
I think that might be a straight swap, Henderson for Dyer.
That would suggest that he's going to play just one. I suppose it depends who they play against. They might want to go a little bit more defensive and not trust Ali and Lingard.
They've got 10 defenders in their team, which is, and I know you can't count Delph really as a defender. Ashley Young's not really a defender. Any of them could be put higher up. I just find it's like out wide, the England team is spot on. Like Kyle Walker is amazing.
Yeah,
But he's going to play centre half.
Yeah, like even having Ashley Young as your left wing back, it's brilliant. Out wide, and then you've got Marcus Rashford running the channels as well. You've got Sterling, Harry Kane up top. But you're right, it's just that bit in the middle. It's just dodgy. There's no creativity, and apart from Dele Alli, and he's not played very well this season at all.
No, it's exciting. There's a lot of raw talent in there, which you just don't know if they're gonna. I look at straight away. I look at Lingard, Sterling. I look at Rashford. I look at Ali. They're all, without doubt, brilliant players. None of them have had the chance to do it at a World Cup yet. You just don't know what way it's going to go. Someone like Lingard could actually be the kind of player who does turn up in a World Cup. He could actually also be awful. I don't know with quite a few of these players. But for the first time in a while, I do feel excited. I think if we make the quarterfinals, then that's a success, to be completely honest. We haven't made the semi-finals of a tournament since Euro 96. So if they were to get to as far as the quarterfinals with a squad like this, then that is successful. It's no worse than the golden generation did. So
yeah. So I'm looking at progression-wise. Say England finish top of the group, then by my predictions they'll get Colombia in the last 16, and then they should win that. If they finish second, they'll get Poland in the last 16 by my estimations. Then when they go through Germany or Brazil, which is where
which is where they'll
and at that point, you can't have
it's
too
fair.
many complaints.
No, not at all. If they play good football, which I don't think that this England team can actually sit back and defend. I don't think with the personnel they're going to be structured enough to be able to sit and contain. I think they're going to go out and try and play good football. Good
I think they
attacking
will.
football.
That's the only thing that would scare me about this. If he was to set us up negatively in the first 2 games, that would frustrate me. But I don't think he will. He hasn't in the qualifiers or the friendlies. And like you said, I don't think the squad is actually capable of doing that. So we kind of have to go out and attack.
He has been bold. He's been very bold in his selections, Gareth Southgate.
Well, even Walker at centre back when he did it, that raised so many eyebrows.
Yeah.
But it worked, and it meant that he could play Trippier on the right hand side.
And he hasn't done it for that long, has he? It's only been it's been fairly recently, which again pretty experimental in the lead up to a World Cup.
Yeah,
a lot of it hinges on Harry Kane though, because the more and more you look through that, the more and more you go, yeah, good young guy, and then it's like Harry Kane. That all hinges on what he does. If he turns up, they could go far.
Because I actually quite like having Rashford and Vardy as first subs to go to, but they are first subs to go to.
Yeah,
really.
he's
really want to be starting
out of all the players that are in that entire team, he is by far the closest to world class by some distance.
He can score against anyone, any defender on his day. He's that good.
He's a confidence player as well. If he was to score in the first game, I would not write off him doing a Gary Lineker and scoring in most games at a World Cup.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah, so Sterling's the kind of closest one.
Yeah,
next to that as well. Like,
he's the one I'm looking forward to seeing because he has got 38 caps for England and he's not really done anything for England, to be completely honest. So it would be interesting to see if he turns up after such a good season.
I watched the highlights of the Nigeria game, and there was a moment where Raheem Sterling was running through the middle and he just turned on the pace, and it was actually quite frightening to watch how quickly he beat both of the Nigerian I know they're centre backs, but they're not exactly small specimens, you know.
Yeah.
And he beat them by a good double the distance to that ball. It was absolutely incredible. And if you just get him on that, you know, just that sharp and feeding the ball to Harry Kane, who can basically score from anywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's I'm worried as a Scottish fan that England are going to do pretty well.
Well,
and I've never been like that. I've always thought you're always going to do absolutely terribly, and you generally do terribly. Yeah. But now I'm just worried about it.
It's you never know. If they go out there and play with no fear, which I think is what Gareth will want, and they do win the first couple of games comfortably, then that's when you start to get excited.
Yeah. And then they lose 5-0 to Belgium.
And then it goes horribly wrong.
Hazard scores 4.
Yeah. We're saying all this, but this time next Monday we'll be 3-0 down to Panama. Kane got injured the day before.
Yeah, I'm waiting on Kane.
Well, the friendly tomorrow.
Yeah.
The friendly tomorrow against Costa Rica.
If something happened to him, you'd be...
Kane and Ali both get injured. Yeah.
Right, so should we talk about Belgium? Belgium, on paper, have a much better team than England.
Yep.
They've got better defenders, better midfielders. Striker, I'd probably say Harry Kane to me is better than Lukaku. I'd rather have Kane.
Yep.
But in the dugout, Belgium have Roberto Martinez and Thierry Henry, which I think is a massive weak point. I don't particularly rate Martinez as a manager. Thierry Henry, from what I've seen as a pundit, is very poor. As much as I loved him as a footballer, he's not a good pundit.
It's such a strange partnership as well. I don't really know how that one came about.
Thierry was bold. Didn't have enough to do it. I'm honestly not sure.
Well, they've had problems. I didn't really get a chance to listen to it on the way in, but apparently there's been some issues today as well with it, where Kevin De Bruyne and Eden Hazard are basically saying that I think it's the way they're training or something like that. They're not happy with what's going on, which is a fair point, because he is, you know, Everton. The reason he did well with Everton is because he took a bunch of guys and made them pretty hard to beat, and they would win 1-0 a lot of the time. That's not what this team are. They look at those midfielders. Like that midfield is probably the scariest of all the midfields in this World Cup.
They get left out arguably one of the best.
Exactly.
Nainggolan's
not even in it. But I see why he's like. If you're Martinez, you don't want a guy like that coming in. He's a Roy Keane type guy.
He's a maverick. I think it was because the reason was because he smokes.
Yeah.
I think that was the reason. As if there's never been a good player that smokes. Russell Lamptey springs to mind.
Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, is it? But he's a class player, so you kind of look past those things.
So if he smokes, so if you know a little bit about Nainggolan, he's box to box. He can't be not fit, so if he smokes, why does it matter?
Yeah.
If he does it on the pitch, why does it matter?
But who would you take out though? That's the problem to put him in, because you've got a guaranteed starters in De Bruyne. No, but De Bruyne, Dembele, Eden Hazard, Tielemans, who's been amazing for Monaco.
Tielemans is not a
Dries
better
Mertens,
player.
who's unbelievable as well.
Mertens is a different player, so if you want to just go like straight central midfielders, Tielemans is gone. He's probably got a much more of an influence over Tielemans, because Tielemans is still a young player, whereas Nainggolan seems like a fucking psycho.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He's Roy Keane. He's Mick McCarthy and Roy Keane.
And you wouldn't want to play against him.
Yeah. But he's a very good. But I just think World Cup comes around once every 4 years. Bring your best players.
Yeah.
You have to give yourself the best possible opportunity, and there could come a point where they really miss him.
But we've just been talking about England and how they've got the lowest average age in the squad. If you brought all the old guys for there are better players than some of those England guys.
Are there though?
Think there is.
Are there? Because I think that's the big thing with the England squad. People aren't complaining because there's no alternatives at home that have been left there because of age.
I don't think there's any better players than. I think the only debatable one is Jack Wilshere, but he didn't do enough to play himself into the team. I don't think there's anyone else that you would take. Is there?
No, I mean the only one that was thrown about was Jimmy Milner, but he is retired and he's run himself into the ground this year anyway.
For a second there, I had no idea who you were talking about. That's James Milner.
Big Jimmy Milner.
Jimmy Grimble.
Boring Milner.
Belgium are strong. There's no two ways about it. They're not underdogs. I know people call them underdogs, but they're not. They're just a strong team full of Premier League.
They're underachievers.
They're the country itself has a history of underachieving, but that shouldn't hold back. Only in football here. But that shouldn't hold this squad back. It's a really strong squad on paper.
My only concern is they're basically 1 degree removed from France, which...
Yeah, they're a worse France.
I just mean mentality-wise, you crumble.
Yeah.
I would say
careful.
World War II.
Yeah, and the fact that Adnan Januzaj is a bit of a strange one as well.
Yeah, it shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that surprised me. That really surprised me.
Even then, I followed Spanish football, and he, did not. There was no trees pulled up for that man.
No, it just depends on the big players. They've got De Bruyne, Hazard, Lukaku. At the back, they've got Kompany, Alderweireld. Get some top quality players. If they perform, they should go very far. Yeah. They can, on their day, they can go toe to toe with any team in this competition.
They walked their group as well. So I think they won every single game except from Greece. They drew Greece away 1-1, and that was everything else was like they just humped teams all over the place. So yeah.
Anyone want to say anything about Panama or Tunisia? Are we just all writing them off? Because I know nothing about Tunisia other than they edged out Congo in qualifying.
I know nothing about them. If they've got any sense, if they've watched any highlights of England and potentially even Belgium games at World Cups before, they will go with the sole intention of frustrating us and defending. Because that might work for them. If they might be able to hold us for 90 minutes, but that's all they could do.
I've got a good stat here for you. They have not lost a game, friendly or otherwise, since January 2017.
Who's that?
Tunisia. So in the highlights of the game against Portugal, they went 2-0 down, and there was one of the English commentators said, "Oh, the English forwards will be licking their lips at this," and then came roaring back to make it 2-2 against a pretty strong Portuguese side. I do not think that team are going to roll over. I think Panama are going to be terrible. Panama will be bottom by a long way.
Yep.
But I think that they'll take points off one of England or Belgium, or maybe both.
I don't think we'll roll. I think they could frustrate us. Yeah. Certainly. I don't think we'll roll over Tunisia. I don't think we'll roll over either.
They drew with Turkey as well. I mean, they're not amazing, but I just think that we might not know who they all are. I think the only guys, because Khazri played for Sunderland, who obviously wasn't good enough for Sunderland, but they could. You never know. They might get absolutely destroyed by all three, but I think they might do better than we think they will.
I've got Yeah, I've got Belgium winning the group, England coming second.
Do you see Belgium beating England? The thing with the Belgium-England game is that if this goes to plan, by that stage both teams are already through.
Yeah.
So it's not a dead rubber at all, but it's not. You've also got the fact that Group H hasn't got one team you desperately have to avoid. It's not going to be the most intense game if both teams have already gone through.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
If it does mean something that's scary for both teams, then who knows?
It's a shame. It's a shame that they're playing each other last.
Yeah, it is.
Absolute
actually.
shame. I think they should either be playing each other first or second.
If that was the first game and there is a winner in that game, the pressure's on straight away.
Yeah, because then Panama and Tunisia, they're just trying. Like one of them has to beat the other one, and hopefully have a draw or something like that against one of them. But that's what I'm saying. Like Tunisia, I wouldn't be surprised if Tunisia beat Panama and draw with Belgium or draw with England or something like that. It would not shock me, and I might put a wee bit of cash on that.
What do you think? Like, you got Belgium topping the group, or you get England topping the group?
I actually think it's going to come down to goal difference. I think both teams will end with 7 points, and Belgium-England will be a 1-1 draw.
Okay. Let's talk about who they will face in the last 16. Group H. This group is a little bit of a shit show, to be honest. It's so weak.
You get the best of all worlds though.
It's so weak.
Every continent's in there.
This could go anyway.
You're like Spain and Portugal in the same group, and here we've got Poland, Senegal, Colombia, and Japan.
But I mean, I would say Poland. Like, I think Poland will do well in this World Cup. I think you'll find them around the quarterfinals. I think I have them. I did have them beating England, but then I thought no, England are going to beat Poland. But I think no. But I mean, think about the team that they have. Their team is damn good.
I think it's another one. It's an aging squad, and I think they're going to rely very heavily
on Lewandowski
and Milik. I don't know how fit Milik is, because he must be the unluckiest player in the world. He's had 2 cruciate ligament injuries in 2 seasons, but when he is fit, he's phenomenal. I'm just looking at their team and I'm thinking it's the same guys that have been there for the past, 6-8 years. You still got like Blazikowski and stuff there. Like,
this is the wildcard group, isn't it? This is the what I look at all 4 teams, and I'm not sure, but I can pick out a few good players in each team. Colombia on paper to me look the strongest, just in terms of names, and then probably followed by Poland.
Colombia also beat France 3-2 in March as well, and that was a good France team. That was like they had all the big guys in it.
Yeah, Colombia could be, if they play their potential. James, Cuadrado, Falcao, Carlos Bacca, Davinson Sanchez, who are really great. Yerry Mina,
Muriel as well from Sevilla.
Yeah,
they did really
they're
well.
not a half bad squad.
Yeah, I fully expect them to win the group. It's going to be tight between them and Poland.
I certainly don't see any teams running away in this group. This could be one of those groups that ends where about 3 of them are on 6 points, and everyone's capable of beating each other in this group. It should be a good watch.
I just think Poland are slightly better because they have been around. Like, think about it. They weren't particularly great the last kind of 5 years, and then just recently they've started picking up wins. The only loss that they had in the qualifying was 4-0 to Denmark, but that was when Lewandowski wasn't even in the team. Yeah. And I think Szczesny wasn't playing either, and they, just got absolutely horsed by an amazing Christian Eriksen. Which was any team, you were talking about him yesterday, any team in that World Cup, if he turns it on, they could get beaten by him, because he's allowed to do that for Denmark, not for Tottenham.
Yeah, so 18 to 25 yards, he could put it in the top corner with either foot, no bother.
Yeah, and that's like anywhere. So I just feel like Poland will do better than everyone thinks. In Colombia, I would put Poland and then Colombia.
One thing that might change your mind on Poland, they have an Ipswich Town player in their squad.
No, they don't.
They do?
Do they?
3rd goalkeeper. And actually, they must be strong in the goalkeeper department, because he is a world-class goalkeeper, and we will certainly lose him sooner rather than later.
Yeah, just repeat that. The Ipswich Town goalkeeper is world-class.
Player of the tournament, I would imagine. Golden Glove coming his way.
And doesn't even play a game.
Senegal have got
I think they'll.
players as well.
But I think they'll chuck it. I think they'll.
Real shame to see El Hadji Diouf hasn't made the squad.
Armand
Travesty.
Traore is in that
Travesty.
team as well. Remember him?
I was actually surprised to see Niang there. As anyone that's played Football Manager knows about very well.
Yes.
Former AC Milan wonder kid, Mbai.
Niang.
Let's try it. Mbai Niang. Yeah,
It's another squad though that's got some decent players in there.
Mane, that's the
Yeah.
standout one.
boy from Napoli as well.
Kouyaté as well, who's amazing on his day. Idrissa Gueye.
Their full midfield
Again,
is
they're no
from
mugs.
England, yeah.
Yeah.
So I get they could easily.
It's going to be a
easily
great group
take
to
points
watch.
off of Poland or Colombia. Even if you look at Japan, Kensuke Honda is still there.
Is he?
He's playing in Pashur, which definitely just sounds like a nightclub or a cartel. I don't know.
Sure.
Pashur. I don't know how my Spanish pronunciation
Yeah,
is. There.
Japan
Probably
have better player, like, because Japan's pretty good because a lot of the players come to Europe and
a lot of
start
them play in the
yeah.
German league. A lot of them are in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, I mean the two forwards, Werder Bremen, Mainz, like guys playing for Getafe, Eibar, Eintracht Frankfurt. It's quite
Okizaki's still a cracking player as well.
even like
Lack of game
that
time, but yeah.
Nagatomo guy who used to play for Inter Milan. He's there, left back. He was really good. I still can't believe Kensuke Honda's still playing. Pachuca, I think that's Peruvian, maybe.
No, it's Mexican.
Mexican.
It's Mexican, yeah.
Kagawa as well was in there.
Yeah, it's not a bad squad. I do see Japan coming bottom of this group, unfortunately. Mainly, unfortunately, because they were my sweepstake team this year. But I think of
that's a
all
tough
the
one.
teams, it was a little bit tough to take.
Yeah.
Have lost to both Ukraine and Ghana as well recently. Both two teams that couldn't qualify.
But this, for a neutral, this is a great group to watch. There's going to be some cracking games. This is one of the groups that will definitely go down to the last games.
I think so.
I don't see a clear.
It's going to be it's the tightest odds by a mile to pick a winner.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Poland and then Colombia, and I don't know. There's not as much logic in that because I think Colombia are the better
Just
team.
because that convinced you.
I'm actually going to go Colombia and Senegal, just from a gut feeling.
If you ask Dara about Colombia though, and you'll see David Ospina in there, and he'll tell you,
True.
they're coming last.
I don't even think David Ospina's a bad backup goalkeeper.
But he's not. He's the number one for
Yeah,
Colombia.
sorry,
Though.
should rephrase that. I don't think he's a bad goalkeeper. Alright, I'm alone on that.
No, I don't think he's awful at all. 86 caps. I'm pretty sure he did well in the last World Cup, which is why. Arsenal signed him. So,
him
yeah.
and Keylor Navas were like the two standout goalkeepers from the last one.
Right, that's the final group. So I'll do what we did yesterday, which is who's your winner and why, and who's your dark horse and why. Start with you, Martin.
Brazil are going to win it. Just there. It's just. I mean, I need to open up the team again. But like, just looking at the team, every single player on that, even the ones that play for Brazilian teams, they're either guys that are playing at the top level or they're people that will probably be at the top level at some point in the future. They're not 30-year-olds that haven't done it. They are, they've got two amazing goalkeepers. Their defence is the best I've probably seen it since, Roberto Carlos and Cafu and all that were around. You've got a midfield that has some solid players in Casemiro, Fernandinho, and then it's got the guys that will just walk off and do all the fancy stuff. And you as much as I hate Neymar, like, that man is third best player in the world by some distance, and I think he will turn it on. I just can't, like I said though, if they don't show up for one game, which can happen, obviously that's their problem. That if the tricks aren't coming off, if someone's frustrating them, but then they beat Croatia 2-0 and Croatia were kicking lumps out of them. So I think Brazil will win it.
Dark horse. Anyone that's, and just by that I just mean anyone who's going to exceed their own country's expectations. Yeah,
that's a tougher one. I still think that, I haven't got the list of all the rest of the teams that are in it, but I still think Argentina are gonna. I think Argentina are the dark horse in the respect of people don't think they're going to do well, but I can see them getting to the semis very easily, just because they know how to turn it on at that point. I mean, they haven't been to the final of 3 Copas and a World Cup in the past little while for no reason. I know that their qualifying was a bit of a shit show, but you know, when it comes to the World Cup, they seem to be able to turn it on pretty well. I don't think they'll win it. I just think they'll do better. People are expecting them to get to the last 16 or quarters, but I think they'll do semi or even the final maybe.
They're always there. No, it's like even if Italy had made it, you'd be like, Italians are always there.
Yeah.
Always minimum quarters, no matter who's
Half-decent
actually
squad
playing.
enough to get to the final.
Yeah. Look, who's your winner?
My winner is Spain. There's a few teams in there that I think are tidy this year and could definitely reach the semi-finals. I look at the Spain squad and I look at the players they left out and think they're strong. The midfield is strong, the defence is strong, they've got the best goalkeeper in the world, and on top of that, Diego Costa is looking like his old self, if not better, for Atletico in the last couple of months, particularly against Arsenal both times. He just looks awesome. I fancy Spain to go on and win it. They've not been spoken about as much because they've had a bit of a disaster at 2014 and they didn't do too much at the Euros, but they're still a world-class squad full of winners, people that have won several Champions Leagues. There's still got quite a few players in the squad that have won the World Cup and European Championships, so I fancy Spain to go on and probably lift the trophy.
Yeah. Dark horse?
Dark horse for me is
Panama.
yeah, no, they're favourites. Denmark for me. They're not a half bad side. They tore Ireland apart in the second game of their playoff against them. I know Ireland aren't the greatest side in the world, but Denmark are fairly solid. Christian Eriksen is one of my favourite players in the Premier League. If he turns it on, they could do damage, and their group is not tough to me. Peru and Australia, I think Denmark will get through that group. And to be honest, France, you just don't know. France should be good, but you never know with them. And then Group D, if they were to, if there's an upset in there, they could end up facing someone like Croatia or Iceland in the round of 16. So I can see a path where Denmark get to the quarterfinals, which for them is impressive.
Definitely, I'd completely agree with that. I'd be surprised if Denmark didn't finish at least second in their group, having seen Peru versus Scotland. They were very poor. In Australia, just a poor team, full stop. So yeah, I would expect them to finish second, and then you never know what can happen in the knockout stages. I think I already said in part 1, I can't remember, but my winner is Spain for the exact same reasons, mainly hinging on Diego Costa, on how good I've seen Diego Costa look. When he was at Chelsea, he was a big battering ram of a guy who you'd be scared to play against. He didn't look that sharp and he didn't look that fast. It's almost like the 6 months he had between when he signed, I don't even think it was 6 months, the 4 months he had between the August and the January signing for Atletico Madrid, where he was ineligible to play, as if he just trained. Yeah. And he came back so lean. Him against Arsenal was frightening.
He's still big, but he's quick.
Yeah, it's like must be terrifying to play against for defences.
He's the same player as he was. Remember the last season for Atletico where he was scoring from ridiculous angles. He was running around like absolute mad.
And on top of all that, he's a big game player.
Yeah,
he loves it. He loves it when the limelight's on. I really fancy Spain.
In my dark horses to overachieve are England. I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Here.
Genuinely.
Give me a passport now.
I know.
He's been out of Scotland far too long.
I just don't. The run they have to the quarterfinals is so easy. It's so doable, which almost makes you think England won't do it. But it's so people are not having high expectations for England, which I'm semi-surprised at. I think people are just scared to say that because they should.
In years gone by, the papers would already be printing they're going to make the quarterfinals minimum.
If this was the team that was Gerrard and Lampard and Beckham, and this run, this group, and then this last 16, and then this quarter-final run, you would say absolutely they need to make it. people don't want to put the pressure on the team, but I think England get the quarters this year, and I think they're happy with that.
Yeah, I think so. I think if we were to get to the quarters as well, it would be quite refreshing in a sense that we could kind of play in the quarters with a little bit less fear, because if we go out, we go out. It wouldn't be nice to go out to Germany again, but...
So could England beat Germany in a one-off game? Absolutely.
I think if we got to the quarters, then this team would be full of confidence all of a sudden, and then you don't know. A young team full of confidence could do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Right. End it on that, because I really need to take a piss.